Hey everybody, back with the same platoon again, this time with Jelly in a bat, Funkwad in a T-54 and myself in the E50M. We have landed on Ensk. Not a bad map for this tank. The E50M of course being one of the best armoured mediums in the game, well probably the best armoured medium in the game, and a very good all-round pub tank. This is probably one of the best pubbing tanks in the game, honestly. It's very flexible, very good armour, very good gun, decent mobility. Really, there isn't a lot to complain about with the E50M. Its gun depression isn't half bad either, as long as you remember to aim over the corners instead of just directly over the front. Decide to head out to the east, usually where I go with mediums, and actually the enemy IS-7 has recognised me from Face Punch, which is surprising since I haven't posted there for about 5 or 6 years now. So I wouldn't expect anybody from there to actually realise or to remember me even, other than to realise it was me. Anyway, we press on into the lumberyard, while myself and this pattern do. Funkwad and Jelly hang back a little bit with our 54E1. Our pattern stops for a moment. I don't have any intention of stopping, I just want to push straight through and, as you know, take an aggressive position, which is pretty much my deal. Funkwad runs ahead to scout, and I follow him in. I do get lit here by the enemy Leo prototype. They do also have a Waffenträger. He gets the first shell from me since he is the bigger threat. And as he dives into cover and I do the same, I get unspotted from the Leo and push forwards into a better position. A better position even. And then this turns up. I was actually panicking really hard here because I just at this point realised just how bad of a position I'd put myself in and how fucked my platoon were because I had a Foch on their flank. Surprisingly though, the Foch failed to actually kill anybody. He got, I think, one shot off before he got tracked on the corner and we just butchered him. Thankfully for me, the enemy T-54 is an atrociously bad shot. He had broadside turret there, which he would have pinned easily, and he aimed at my hull, I think, and bounced. So poor life decision on his part, it cost him dearly, as has his even worse life decision of actually trying to play on that corner. I don't know what he thought he was going to achieve by that, particularly since I already had my front pointed at him. Our team in the town's actually formed an interesting gun line there, like an actual front line that runs across the G line, right up to the lumberyard where us three have carelessly pushed ahead. Funkwad did get taken out, but Jelly's still up for now, and we also have some support from the 54E1 way out to the east. But we are in a pretty risky position here. We've pushed way ahead of support. It's only us three now that Funkwad's down, and the enemy have an awful lot of shit out here. Right as I get lit, or actually about 3 seconds after I get lit, I put one through the wall into Junkers. He is of course the only real threat on the enemy team. The enemy Leopard prototype takes Jelly out, and the 54E1 goes down to the enemy Arty also, so I'm not really in a stronger position here because I'm now alone with 5 tanks on this flank, plus enemy Arty support. With that said, our team in town has pushed through, so although I was pinging the map like crazy and asking for help, we had basically won the match at this point. Keeping in mind that our Waffenträger E100 was actually statistically a halfway decent player, so even if I died, we would still have a good chance of not throwing. I had an impression I was going to get pushed, since I had a numerical advantage on this side now, so I back all the way up, and sure enough the T-54 is the first thing to get spotted. Although he appears to be alone for now, so I push in to try and flush him out. I get a shot in, he bounces, and then the genius decides to ram a 65-ton E50. Yeah. Didn't work out for him. I was preparing to side scrape out when Junkers actually came in through behind me and popped me in the back, so no point side scraping, but I fall for the most obvious kite ever. broadside in front of both him and the 103. I should have known that was coming. The second my tank blew up, I just face-palmed. I knew that that was going to happen. I did it anyway. It was just one of those things, but it did work out, and Junkers was too low on hit points to carry his team anyway, so we ended up pulling through with 4k damage for me, which was pretty nice considering how just stupidly aggressive my platoon was. I'm really quite amazed we got away with that. What's perhaps more surprising though is that our team only lost my platoon plus the 54E1, so all our tanks that were in town survived, and all our tanks actually that were on the eastern flank ended up dying, which is interesting. Oh, except the Patton, who must have turned around and gone back at some point. I honestly wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. I'm not sure actually what Junkers was doing most of the game, because obviously I didn't notice him until he drove in front of my gun and I was able to put a shot through the wall. This is the hazard of pubbing in a Leopard versus pubbing in an E50M. The E50M and the Leopard have very similar guns. The E50M's is technically very slightly better. I think the Leopard has better handling while the E50M has like 2mm of extra pen. I'm not sure who wins the DPM contest. I think it's the Leopard. But the problem is, as low to the ground as the Leopard is, its camo is not actually very good, and it has no armor at all. It also has that big frontal ammo rack which gets hit pretty much every time somebody shoots at you. The E50M on the other hand isn't quite as nimble as the Leopard, but it's still quite fast given its size. It weighs 65 tons, so anyone who rams you is going to get fucking wrecked. And it has armor more fitting of a heavy tank. The E50M's armor is like on par with the King Tiger or close to it. I find in practice I can basically act as though I'm a King Tiger in a lot of situations. It's why I call it a pocket heavy, and the regular E50 as well. They have armor more befitting a tier 8, maybe low range tier 9 heavy than a medium tank, and they can really put it to use. So given the choice, I do like playing the Leopard. It's a nice tank, it's fun to play, but if I'm going to be pubbing and I'm not going to, especially if I'm solo pubbing or I don't trust my platoon mates to really, this is going to sound awful, but if I'm playing with, say, newer players who don't understand how to stay alive and do damage, basically, because, you know, I'm not going to stay alive and do damage, I'm going to do something stupid and get myself killed very quickly. I'll prefer to bring the E50M out just so I can afford to tank hits and make risky plays without having to worry about it as much. With the Leopard, you either have to sort of play very conservatively, which I'm virtually incapable of, and also which tends towards chaiing. You'll end up sitting at the back of the match farming, or sorry, at the back of the map farming damage and not really having an impact on the match. Or you'll end up dead very quickly because your tank just cannot survive hits. So quite often I do see G players playing the Leopard. I can see why. It's very mobile, it's a really good gun platform, so you can get that really quite wonderful gun to any part of the map in a hurry, and its armor's not very good, but it can sometimes bounce things. It does have the 10 degrees of gun depression over the E50, which is I think the E50's maximum of 8, maybe 7. So the Leopard does have some really strong virtues to it. It kind of is like a bat chat without an autoloader. I know I shouldn't make comparisons like this because they're two things you can't really compare, but I'm just trying to convey its playstyle. It's more of a hit and run tank. You can sit somewhere and pound out shots, but the moment people start reacting to that, you have to fuck off. Whereas with the E50, you can actually get up in people's faces and not have to worry about that. Or if you're firing from a position, if you get spotted, it's not the end of the world. The Leopard is a really high-risk, high-reward tank. Quite often, when I do see G players playing them, they will either end up carrying the match or they will die very quickly, and usually when they're on the opposite team, it's die very quickly because myself and my platoon mates usually know to primary them if they get lit. So the E50M, I would say, is a much more flexible tank for pubs, and also probably more flexible for clan wars too. And out of the two, I think it's a better tank to play if you want to win games. If you just want to have fun, it'd be hard to choose between them. The Leopard is a really fun tank, but so is the E50M. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I don't bring this thing out as often as I should, so I'll probably try and get some more E50M videos up at some point in the future. It is a really good fun tank to play, and it's just a solid tank, as I said, and as you saw, it's hard to beat. So we'll see how we go, and I'll try and get some more of those up. In the meantime, I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you next time.